Year Ball Talk Daily, episode 53. We're going to jump right into this one. Okay, so today's episode is centered around the debate of who the best player in the NBA is. So you see me with the Lakers hat on. Y'all know I'm a Lakers fan, LeBron fan specifically. We fucking with LeBron, AD. But really and truly, I don't think AD is currently a top 5 player. He hasn't proven that through last season, especially if we're going to rank it based on there. LeBron was injured, so they didn't really get that far in the play. Well, they lost in the first round. I still think LeBron's a top 3 player in the league at his age, but I don't think he is the best player in the league currently. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is, although it's still Team Lakers all the way, trying to get that 5th ring. But you got to be objective. When I look at this player pyramid, I look at it and I'm like, from Nick Wright, it's almost
perfect.
But there's some problems, especially how low he ranked Kyrie Irving. But let's get into it.
Oh, this is greater, though, Jim.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Nick's NBA pyramid with the NBA's 75th season tipping off tonight. Couple of times throughout each season, Nick is going to take us through his pecking order of NBA players, like a lot of NBA players. So buckle up, strap in. We got a lot to consider, Nick. Take us there.
All right, don't show it yet, because much like if you're watching a movie and they put a warning up before the screen, like if there's a strobe light in the movie and they say if you have epilepsy, they want to let you know. If you have an allergy to awesomeness and accuracy, avert your eyes, America, because what you're about to see is not for the faint of heart. Top 55 players in the league in a pyramid. Let it all wash over you for a moment. Oh, my goodness gracious. Just look at it. That's perfect. Just look. Now, thank you, Broussard. I agree.
Let me pause it real quick.
Perfect.
Not quite. This bottom row right here, you can contest a lot of this bottom row. But let's get into it. Who is not placed in the right spot as we look through the names? Pascal Siakam on the same level as Kyle Lowry. Clint Capella's up here. I don't know about that. LaMelo Ball made his way up on this list. Second year, rookie of the year, first season, second year. LaMelo Ball, his stats, what did he average? Like 17, 6, and I can't remember what he averaged, but his stats were pretty nice. Definitely, he has a possible breakout year this season, but there's always the sophomore slump, so we don't know what can take place when it comes to that. LaMelo Ball, I'm not going to debate where LaMelo Ball is. It's good to see LaMelo Ball on this list. I think Lonzo Ball should possibly be on this list because I don't think is Buddy Hield and Anthony Edwards better than Lonzo Ball? I don't think so. I don't know about that. But I'm not going to get into the nitpicky of the bottom of the list. It's not that important. It's where Kyrie is. He's next to Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's been injured for, 2 years? We haven't seen Klay Thompson since the 2019 finals. So it's hard to kind of rank where Klay Thompson is. If you're just going to put him where you last remembered him, like how great he was, I'd put him a little bit higher than this. But nonetheless, you look at Kyrie Irving, where he's at in this list right here, if you can't see it, your screen small. Kyrie Irving's better than Bradley Beal. Kyrie Irving right now, Zion Williamson, he's very efficient. I don't know about that. You know what? Looking at it, really, it's not really much places for Kyrie to jump up here. But I wouldn't have Trae Young over Kyrie Irving or CP3. Although CP3 got his team to the finals, if I have a team, I'm picking Kyrie Irving well above CP3. Trae Young, probably not over Donovan Mitchell. I don't know. It's a good list here. I'm like nitpicking. I'm looking through it. The top, I would put AD right here. Definitely not top 5, like I said in the beginning. AD definitely had to take a step down because he averaged, 21 points per game last season. Injured religiously. He had 53 total career injuries. So, very injury prone. But when he's on the court and playing at his best, he's definitely effective. But we don't get that enough, so we can't put him that high. I think AD's correctly placed where he's at. Jokic, last year's MVP. He was the MVP. His stats were ridiculous, but I don't see Jokic breaching the top 3 spots in the pyramid, the top 3 tiers. I don't think he's better than Steph, Luka, or Harden. Steph, Luka, and Harden are accurately placed too. I would put them above Kawhi right now. Kawhi's too injury prone. He's not even playing this season. He's accurately placed. Kawhi at his best will be higher, but he's injury prone. He's injured this season. We can't expect anything out of Kawhi. Let's get to LeBron and KD, because a lot of people think KD is the best player in the NBA. And yeah, some people think KD is the best player in the NBA. It's like popular for NBA media to push KD as the best player because I think he's more marketable to that in their eyes than Giannis is. But Giannis, back-to-back MVPs up until last year, and I think they didn't give it to him off of MVP fatigue and lack of playoff success, but then he wins the championship. And Giannis, right after beating Kevin Durant, acted like Kevin Durant was still better than him, and he said it too. And I'm like, yo, Giannis, you're clearly a better defensive player of the year. Offense, you're just as good of a scorer, and you're just as efficient, if not more. No, you're more efficient of a scorer than Kevin Durant is. All Kevin Durant does is shoot better, and he has a better crossover. Let's keep it real. His aesthetic of this game looks better. He's a better overall player when it comes to career, like he's done more in his career. But when we look at right now, who's a better overall player right now, and for the past few seasons, I would say Giannis. Giannis is the only one that I can put up an argument and say he's better than LeBron right now, because LeBron, he won a championship the year prior, and people act like that doesn't even exist because his team was heavily injured last year. Okay, let's get to the pyramid. Let's get to their breakdown.
At the very bottom, you're like, is that Mike Conley? Is that Marcus Smart? It is. There's some good players there.
It is.
They barely cracked the top 55. Brandon Ingram, fans out there, I'm not one of them. I know some people would have him higher. That second to bottom row, Julius Randle. Nick, how's Julius Randle not higher? Well, unfortunately, we saw the playoffs. But he's on the pyramid, so good for him. Now, let's zoom it in and show you our top 38 guys in the league.
Okay.
That bottom row. Hey, I'm an honesty broker. Russ, I love you. You can't be any higher than that. You go a little further in that row, Simmons, Rudy, Draymond. Interesting. First 2 guys I mentioned there, awesome in the regular season, disasters in the playoffs. Draymond's the opposite. They're all in the same row. And LaMelo, we are buying LaMelo stock and holding it, the way Wild is with his Dogecoin. LaMelo skyrocketed up from being a non-pyramid participant.
Let me stop it right there. It's good to see Jrue Holiday get some love, because Jrue Holiday is one of the best defenders in the league, underrated scorer as well. I don't know if I'm happy where Russell Westbrook is. I'm taking Russell Westbrook before I'm taking Karl Anthony Towns, because Russell Westbrook has proven that he can take teams to the playoffs. You don't see Russell Westbrook missing playoffs. He didn't even make the All-Star team last year, but he still made the playoffs. He still dragged the Wizards to the playoffs. Triple-doubles. I think Russell Westbrook is being disrespected too often, and he's very underrated. He has high turnovers. He probably doesn't fit the best with the Lakers, with LeBron and AD, but we'll see. Still have faith in Russ. We'll see. Let's get it.
Last year, and the row right above him. Big year for Karl Anthony Towns, year 7. I'd like to see him have some good teammates. I'd like to see him in the postseason. We've seen him play 5 career playoff games. Klay and Kyrie are tough. We know what they are at their best. We don't know what Klay is going to be back from these last 2 injuries. And the last video we have of Kyrie playing sports was playing football on a field from yesterday. Very tough. There is not a single guy above Kyrie that team would trade that player for Kyrie. That's where he is. All right, now let's zoom in on the top 21 players in the sport. We will start on the bottom. This is why I've never totally understood the Jason Tatum. He's a superstar and he's going to win an MVP. He is not even arguably a top 15 player in the league. Excellent player. Hey, he's alongside Bradley Beal, won a scoring title. Jimmy Butler was the best player on the finals team. But that's where he is. Zion could have been higher. The foot concerns me. And Chris Middleton, listen, I'm old-fashioned. I like championships. Now we go above. The Trey Mitchell Booker. 3 guys. really juiced their pyramid stock by outstanding playoff performances.
That's
AD
true.
and Chris Paul, one could argue should be higher, but they are the injury concern is so real that I had to put them there. Now we get tiers 3 and 4. This was hard. Luka, Steph, Harden, Embiid, Jokic. Who gets row 3? Who gets row 4? I debated, I flipped, I flopped. I ended up saying the two big men I would rather have, Luka, Steph, and Harden, than Embiid or Jokic. Kawhi, he's got to be in the top 4 rows. He's got to be a top 10 player. He obviously is hurt, and so hard to put him higher than that, and Dame speaks for himself. And then the very top of the pyramid. LeBron and Durant, I don't think there's much argument there that they are top 3 players in the league. The question is, who should be at the very top? And I feel like, Broussard, we somehow immediately started moving past what Giannis did in the finals. And people, there's been no discussion of Giannis this offseason, no discussion of the Bucks. Let me remind America.
Hold on. The reason why there was no discussion of Giannis's performance in the finals or the Bucks winning the championship or them even marketing Giannis is because they're going the other direction. First Take, Undisputed, going and the Herd, they're going in the direction of Kevin Durant's the best player. So all they're talking about is Kevin Durant, the Nets, Kyrie Irving. That's what they're talking about. That's the central focus. That's where they're focused on marketing, but they're they're dropping the ball.
Bucks were down 0-2 in the finals, and Giannis did this. Forget the fact that he scored 40 in Game 2, not even showing up. Game 3, a must-win, 41-13-6. Game 4, his worst game of the stretch, had the game-saving block. Game 5 had the game-sealing dunk. And Game 6, one of the greatest NBA Finals games of all time.
Exactly. One of the greatest NBA Finals games of all time to clinch the series and win a championship. 50 points, 14 rebounds, a meager 2 assists. But nonetheless, look at those finals averages. And they'll sit up and say KD's the best player when KD lost to him and to Giannis and the Bucks. And to act like, oh, Kyrie wasn't there. Your team was comparable talent. Stop the cap. So you need overwhelming talent to win championships. But when you have comparable talent, you're going to lose and still claim you're better.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
Ironically, that's exactly what Stephen A. says when you would put up these type of stats with Giannis and say that he's better than KD. But, you know, it's all sports marketing.
For the series, averaged 35, 13, and 5. And you have no reason to believe he's not going to be a better player this year than last year now that he has that monkey off his back. He is arguably the best defender in the league, and he just scored 50 to win the title. So he has to supplant LeBron, who's been at the top.
The Bucks have 2 of the best defenders in the league. I don't think people were paying attention. Giannis is the best defender in the league, I would say, as a big. He's a legit 4 that can play 5 and 3. He's the best defender as a big. All around, he can guard any position. He can guard the 5. He can guard the 1. But really and truly, Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is one of the best defenders of a guard out there. He puts people on clamps. Playoff Drew Holiday is a real thing.
Top of this pyramid, every edition we've ever done as the best player in basketball, Chris Broussard. I know you take issue with the committee's tiers, but this is my pyramid. There is no committee. I don't need a group of people for this. This is my life's work.
Okay.
How you react to this is going to have an impact on our friendship moving forward. Tell me you love it. Come on. Tell me you love it.
Nick Wright, you're welcome. This warms my heart, Nick. Look, I know you think that I'm being mean when I rip your NFL tiers, but it's called tough love, buddy. All right? It is about teaching you how to rank. All right? It's not about just, oh, let me rip Nick's tiers. Let's have some fun. It's good to... No, it's about teaching you how to rank, constructive criticism. I am proud to say, young Nick, that you have learned from me. You have taken my lessons and you have bettered yourself. This pyramid, I got to give it to you, man. It's legit. It's not perfect.
Thank you.
But it is legitimate. Yeah, I hope this spills over to your NFL tiers because you've really done a good job here. There's a couple of things. I'm going to back you up on Giannis. All right, because when people watch this, that's what I'm with you on Giannis, but everybody else, as you know, Nick, is going to say, oh, KD's got to be the best player in the world and all that. I've got Giannis. Look, he's a better defender than Durant. He's a better rebounder than Durant. I can argue he's a better passer than Durant. You saw those assist totals from the finals, but he's at least as good as Durant in passing. He's more dangerous in transition than Durant. And he's not as good of a shooter, obviously. That's the only thing Durant does better. But he is as good of a scorer in terms of production.
That's right.
He scores as many points, if not more, than Kevin Durant. And he does it at slightly higher efficiency. So.
Yep, exactly what I said earlier. This is absolute facts. But as you can notice, my screen has been frozen. I'm stuck in that position on the camera. But it is what it is. We're going to finish the show.
Oh, it's Giannis. You're right, Nick. People, because of the injuries last year, right, nobody really respected Phoenix that much. They thought the Clippers, if they're not injured, maybe they're there. Obviously, if the Lakers aren't injured, they're in the finals. So people kind of disrespect them. Brooklyn, of course. So that's why I think people move past what Giannis did in the finals. But I'm with you. He's number one. I don't even mind you having LeBron. I see a little secret. And now Nick won't admit this, but it really goes left to right, America. So he's got LeBron number 2 and Durant number 3. He won't admit it, but a little birdie, a source told me that. So but LeBron, I'm not mad at that because he does more on the court than KD. So I'm not mad at you on that.
That's fact.
Third line, I'm good with. I would change from the fourth row. I would put AD above Dame. Because of the defense. Now, you made a good point. Obviously, the injuries is a concern. But AD, because of his defense, I know he's coming off a subpar year, but I'm expecting him to really bounce back and play like he did 2 years ago. So I would move him ahead of Dame. Like you mentioned, Kawhi. I don't expect to see Kawhi this season. So if you take him out, obviously you can keep Dame on that level. I would, if we're going left to right, I would move Kawhi, though, if we want to keep him, ahead of Embiid and Jokic. I think Kawhi is that good. And then I get it.
When fully healthy, I would definitely think that Kawhi has more value than Embiid and Jokic because Kawhi wins championships. He's proven that he can be the best player on a championship team, and he'll be committed on both ends of the court. You gotta give it to him. Pause.
You're not a fan. But Kyrie Irving, I know the baggage, all he brings.
Who are we replacing?
But the boy can ball. I'm moving Kyrie if he were to play. I know he's not going to play. But I would put him ahead of Chris Middleton. And I like Chris Middleton, but I would move Kyrie up ahead of Middleton. And then going left to right, I would move Zion over a few pegs. Behind like Bradley Beal and I'd put Paul George ahead of Zion as well.
Let me ask you first.
I would put Paul George ahead of Zion.
Let me just real quick ask you a question and then Wild jump in. And by the way, Broussard always accuses me of this left to right thing. He hasn't been on the show as long as I have. We have a massive viewership in the Middle East, particularly Israel, and they read right to left. So you think it's a left to right reading thing? I'm just telling you, it's just top to bottom, my friend. But let me ask you this. Let's say the vaccine issue never existed, okay? Would the Bucks trade Chris Middleton for Kyrie? I say no.
No.
If this offseason,
right? Because
I don't.
They wouldn't trade him because of the fit. There's no point. You have a big wing who can guard multiple positions, the 3, the 4, the 2, opposed to getting Kyrie, who's also a guard who's sitting in or stepping on Jrue Holiday's shoes if he's on the team now, taking over that point guard position. It makes no sense to the balance of the team. It's not just a talent issue.
think they
Kyrie's
would.
got more but it's baggage. It's not his game. It's his baggage. Would you admit that?
Yeah, but that's
just
part of it.
strictly game.
Yes, but I think that's part of it. Yes,
that's fair.
But I'm incorporating
It's
that
fair.
into it. I like it is. Take the vaccine issue out of it, Wilds. The baggage with Kyrie has to impact his ranking. The fact that he took a 2-week sabbatical last year, the fact that he seems to wear on teammates. Meanwhile, Chris Middleton is like the perfect personality for a number 2 option.
Totally
I just
low
think
maintenance,
that,
right.
to me, I did factor that into the rankings. Go ahead, Wilds.
Yeah,
That's fair.
No, that has to be a part of it. I want to talk about guys who's rising and falling stock. Because my guys, little run TMB, Trey, Mitchell, and Booker. I was like, ooh, I'm going to try to move them up on this pyramid. And I got to knock somebody off. I couldn't knock anybody off. You've got champions, you've got MVPs, you got Embiid, who was in the MVP conversation. I tried to look at Dame's number. I'm like, maybe Donovan's better than Dame. He's not. The only thing I could try to make an argument for is that all 3 of those guys have had deep playoff runs. And look, one of the rules of this show is do not make fun of anybody's family members at all. But your guy, Luka, hasn't. I know he's put up big numbers. You're going to say he did this in the playoffs, he did this. The number I'm looking for is the amount of games that he has sat on his couch and watched those other guys play.
Did I fast forward that? What happened?
I know he's put up big numbers. You're going to say he
shit,
did this
okay,
in the
it's done now.
playoffs, he did this. The number I'm looking for is the amount of games that he has sat on his couch and watched those other guys play.
Okay, but Luka's had 2 years in the season, 2 years in the NBA, 2 playoff runs, or was this his 3rd or 3 years? Whatever. He has 2 playoff runs that resulted in 2 first-round losses to the LA Clippers, led by Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And he put up ridiculous stats and was left hanging by Kristaps Porzingis, who didn't want to get his 7'3" tall monkey ass. Oh, no, I shouldn't say monkey ass because you know how they take it.
Damn, son.
He didn't want to get his 7'3" motherfucking ass in the goddamn post, in the paint. You're 7'3". Wait, Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, he's 7'3". 7'3". And he wanted to stay on the perimeter all day and shoot threes. Didn't want to grab no rebounds. Didn't want to be an inside presence. Didn't want to do anything on the defense. I don't know what happened to Kristaps Porzingis during the last year's playoff run. Just complete regression. I don't know if he was injured or something, but he was just not playing up to what we know Kristaps Porzingis is capable of. So he kind of left him hanging. The first year playoff run, or the first when he lost to Kawhi, the first year, Luka, Kristaps got injured in the middle of the series where they would have won that series if Kristaps didn't get injured. Kristaps was playing the way Kristaps should have been playing. Last year, Kristaps let everybody down. But, you know, it is what it is. Luka, his stats and his performance, his consistency, his ability to drag his team with no other real superstar, he definitely deserves his ranking on that list where it's at, which is right up here, 3rd tier to the top. But we're going to wrap it up here. Message got across. We have Giannis at the top of the pyramid. I think this is about accurate. For the most part, this pyramid's accurate. It's not
Perfect.
but it's pretty good. We're going to wrap it up here. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We out. Yeah.